Shalom Akim. Today we're going to go through a brief class breaking down Psalms 81 and verse 3 in the Hebrew, and also breaking it down grammatically, because this verse right here in the book of Psalms has brought forth a lot of doctrine. It's brought forth that the new moon is a full moon. It also brought forth the fact that the new moon is a dark moon. So what I'm going to show you here in the Hebrew, that Psalms 81 and verse 3 is not talking about what the moon looked like, but more rather, when should you blow the trumpet in the new moon, right? So with further ado, we're going to get right into the scriptures. Okay, this is Psalms 81 and verse 3. I'm going to read it straight through in the Hebrew. Then I'm going to break it down word by word, grammatical term by grammatical term, showing you nouns, adjectives, pronouns, and how a Hebrew sentence is put together, right? So first I'm going to read it, right? The kwaiwa ba chadash shawapa ba kasa layawum chag nawa, right? So now I'm going to break it down for you. The first word, the kwaiwa. Now the word the kwai means to blow. The wa at the end of the kwai means it, or it could also mean he. So that first word here, the kwai wa, means blow it, right? The next word here is ba chadash. Now the root word in here is chadash, which is a noun. The word chadash means new moon. It also means new month. It also means new. The ba in front of Kadash is a preposition meaning in. So ba Kadash means in new moon, or in the new moon, right? So the next word here is shawapa, or shofar, or shofar. Now the word shawapa is trumpet. So this first sentence we have here is reading, blow it in the new moon a trumpet, or blow a trumpet in the new moon, right? Now we're going on to the next thought, which is where all the confusion begins. Ba kasa. Now the root word that we're looking for is kasa. Now when you look at the English translation of kasa, you will see that it'll tell you it means full moon, it means appointed time, but none of those words mean kasa. The ba in front of it is also a preposition meaning in, but we're not going to deal with that. This is the word right here that we're going to deal with right now, right? And that is kasa. Right? Now you can go to Google Translate. If you go to the concordance, it'll give you a whole different word in there. I didn't print that page yet, but you can do it yourself. Go to the Strong Concordance, and you would see that when they translated, or they put up the word for kasa, kasa spelt here is ka, sa, and ha, just like in Psalms 81 and 3, ka, sa, and ha. But when you go to the Strong Concordance, it's spelled ka, sa, and ah. Two different words, sound the same, but two different meanings. I'll give you an example. In English, you have the word right and right. Both sound the same, two different meanings, both spelled differently. One spelled R-I-G-H-T, which means correct, and the other one is spelled W-R-I-T-E, meaning what? To inscribe. Sound the same, but two different meanings. This is exactly what is done right here. Now, the correct meaning of the word kasa is cover or to cover. Now, in this sentence right here, the word kasa is used as an adjective. It's describing something. Something is being covered. Now, we know an adjective, as in English terminology and grammar, describes a noun. So we have to find a noun in this sentence here that it's describing. Now, the word next to it, trumpet, is a noun. The word up here, chadash, new moon, is a noun. The word next below it, layawum, yawum, means day, which is a noun also. So which word does the word kasa describe? Right? So now we're going to get into some basic grammar. Now, like I said, Hebrew grammar, just like any other grammar, is very simple. You know? Just like Spanish. See, in English, you have an adjective and you have which describes a noun. The adjective and the noun goes right next to each other. As in the word tall, tree. The adjective tall comes before the word tree, tree being the noun. But in Spanish, French, Hebrew, and in many other languages, it's the opposite way. So in Spanish, what does it say here? It says most Spanish adjectives go after the noun, right? Certain types of adjectives in Spanish go before the noun. Some adjectives can go before or after the noun. The meaning changes according to the position of the sentence, right? So in Spanish, most of the time, the noun, the adjective goes after the noun. So in other words, you wouldn't say tall tree, you would say tree tall with the adjective after the noun, right? Now that's Spanish. Now this is French. It said when adjectives are used right besides the noun. So in French, it's telling you straight to the point. An adjective has to be directly next to the noun. Not 2 words away, not 3 words away, but directly next to the noun. Just as in English and in Spanish. Tall tree, big house, red hat, right next to each other, right? So it says when adjectives are used right beside the noun, they are describing. Now the word kasa in Psalms 81:3 is describing. So where does the noun need to be? It needs to be right next to the adjective, right? Okay, now this is Hebrew. Do adjectives go before or after the noun in Hebrew? If the noun is singular, the adjective has to be singular also. If the noun is definite, the adjective is also definite, and so on. When a cardinal or an ordinal number functions as an attribute adjective, sometimes it comes before the noun, described instead of after the noun. So Hebrew is the same way. The adjective has to come either before the noun or after the noun, depending on how it's being used. Like I said, not 2 or 3 words away from the adjective, but right next to it, right? I'm going to give you an example in the Hebrew, right? This is Judges 6:15. Right here it says, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just the part that we're focusing on. Alapia hadal, meaning my family poor, or my poor family. Now notice where the adjective is, which is poor, and the word family, which is where? Right next to it. The word poor is not describing Israel, it's describing family, right? That's just one example. Here's another one. Eitz parya, or tree, fruit, or fruit tree. Notice where the adjective is, fruit, describing the kind of tree. So the adjective and the noun right next to each other. Here's another one. Mighty man of valor. The noun, adjective. Valor describing what? The mighty man. I'll give you some English. I really don't have to, but I'll just show you here. Beautiful house. Notice that they're right next to each other. Sleeveless shirt. Beautiful dress. Meaningless letter. This shop. Beautiful dress. Adorable baby. Notice they're right next to each other. So we're going to go right back to the original and find out what the word kasa is referring to. Now, according to the grammatical terms, the noun that the word kasa is describing has to be where? Right next to it. Now, the words right next to it is what? Trumpet and day. The word kasa is not describing the moon, because kasa, the word moon, is where? 2 words away from the adjective. So kasa is definitely not describing the word moon. It's not describing a covered moon, and it's definitely not talking about a full moon. The word kasa is either describing the trumpet or it's describing the word day, right? So we're going to read this again. The kwaiwa ba chadash shawapa ba kasa la yawum chag nawa. So blow it in the new moon a trumpet. In the cover, la yawum, in the cover of day, our feast day, right? So what word is the word cover referring to? Is it referring to covering the trumpet, or is it referring to covering the day? It has to be covering the day. Now, like I said, the word kasa is not talking about what the moon looked like, but it's talking about when you should blow the trumpet. Now, when should you blow the trumpet? In the cover of day. When does our feast days begin? When the day is covered. Now, a day goes from sun up to when? Sundown. That's a day. When the sun goes down, our day ends. And the day is covered. The day is covered with darkness. So the word kasa is referring to what? The noun directly next to it, which is the word day, layawam. Right? So the day is what is covered here. Which day? Our feast day. So the scripture should read, blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the cover of day, our feast day. That's what Psalms 83 is talking about. 81 verse 3 is talking about. It's not talking about covering the moon. It's not talking about full moon, but it's talking about when the trumpet should be blown, when the day is covered at sundown. That's when a day is covered, when the sun goes down and the sun is covered. That's what this whole scripture is talking about. That's why we have so many doctrines. So we need to come back to our original Hebrew, learn the correct grammatical terms and how Hebrew is actually written, because ancient Hebrew is very simple. It's not like the modern day where they add these dots and vowels and all these other different meanings. It's very simple. Nouns, adjectives, present, past, future, so on and so forth. So in conclusion, I'm going to just say this sentence here, Psalms 81 and 3, is not talking about covering the moon. It's not talking about a dark moon. And the translation, like I said, go in to the Strongs and you would see that the spelling of the word kasa in the Strongs is spelled ka, sa, and a, not ka, sa, and ha, which has two different meanings. They sound the same, but they have two different meanings. So get back into your Hebrew and learn your Hebrew so that all these doctrines can be put to rest. Hope you enjoyed the class. Hope you got some understanding from what I'm trying to bring forth. Shalom, peace and blessings.